We're back, and the Vikings have the ball. 1st and 10 from their old 27. Two-back set. It's Joe Rubin. Swallowed up by Lance Spencer, who came from the backside. Here's a scoring drive by MontanaGrizzlies.com and another look at that John Talmadge touchdown. Here's what I was talking about. Little help with the push on the right arm to the chest of Dominic Dixon, but it counts. Doesn't matter now. Scoring drive brought to you by MontanaGrizzlies.com.
Well, keep in mind that came off a turnover that was fairly needless, but big break from Montana on the turnover.
Here's the throw out to Bodiford. Bodiford over the 40. Sean Bodiford, one of the 24 junior college transfers on this roster. Just to give you a comparison, the Montana Grizzlies on their roster have 3 junior college transfers, and the Vikings have 24. And Bodiford out of Butte Junior College in California. And Tim Walsh says he's the hardest worker on the team. And he's got the big play there for the first down from the 41. Rubin trying to bounce it outside. Nice play. Tough Harris. Tough Harris, a sophomore cornerback out of Colstrip, wasn't going to let Rubin get the corner. Great play from number 13.
Yeah, and exactly the right way to, again, scheme that up. They're pulling the inside guys, trying to stretch you out on a little sweep, have your defensive end contained, and he did perfectly, and then you get help outside.
Tough Harris battled injuries for most of last season. He's had a good year this year. Came in, 33 tackles on the season. And the Vikings have to burn a timeout. We'll take a break.
Charging to Portland State. That's the first timeout this half.
Defense looking for a big stop, get the ball back in the hands of Craig Oakes. And here's a reverse to Bodiford. There's a flag down, and a tackle made in the backfield. Or nearly a tackle, but he made first contact, Jimmy Wilson. And then come in to clean up McIntyre, Van Cooper, Tyler Joyce, and company. And again, there's a flag down. And I think this will be another hold against the Vikings.
Yeah, that was a nice designed reverse. They pulled the guard and tackle to the left side and then came back behind them the other way.
Chop block. Number 5 on the offense. There's the Klein. 3rd down.
And the defense did a nice job snuffing it out. And so a great play for the Grizzlies.
See if we can pick up where the chop block was. There's Jimmy Wilson. Good penetration by Wilson. 3rd down and 12. Heat coming from the outside. Weiser's just got to unload it. And coverage provided by freshman Torrey Thomas, one of the Thomas brothers. That plays in the backfield for the Grizz. Good coverage that time. And gonna have to punt are the Vikings.
And credit Montana's defensive front there, and of course nice coverage downfield too, but a lot of pressure up the middle, and he was flushed and had to get rid of it.
Daly to punt. He's averaged 40 yards per punt today on 4 kicks. Good pressure up the middle, gets it off though. Seegers spins away from one, gets a block to get the sideline, but there's a bunch of flags down. This is going to come back. There's a clip down around the 25-yard line.
Yeah, and he did get him. They tried to throw up the arms again. That's Bobby's way of saying we didn't do it, but he did get him in. He did get him in the back, and they actually do coach that, and it's a nice technique to use. But they did get him. You know, Tom, I'm surprised he doesn't get more of these blocked, because I was noticing he only stands at about 12 yards. Most punters are going to be about 15, and if I was coaching, I would definitely go after a couple of those punts.
You can see the block in the back right there. Like Tyler Joyce, number 6. Another one of the freshmen linebackers on this team. He's a true freshman.
And you know, Montana, let's get the call here.
On the return, a block in the back, number 52. On the return team, 10 yards to the start of the foul. First down.
Well, they gave it to Nick Vella.
You know, I was going to say Montana has nearly blocked two punts tonight, not trying to block him just because he is so shallow on his drop.
So the Montana Grizzlies could take the lead with a touchdown. Now more whistles. Total offense tonight. Montana 292 yards. Portland State 318. So that gap has evened up. Portland State was ahead after the first quarter. The Grizz came right back.
Well, this possession for Montana could really set the tone for the rest of the game.
Jayton Simpson, the tight end, in motion. Right up the gut. Hilliard. And just about 2 yards that time. And Chris Berg with the stop, number 55.
You know, there's a lot of time, but again, if Montana can drive it down and score, even though there will be a lot of time left, it really does kind of set the stage for the rest of the game.
That screen to Hancock they ran in the first half. Hancock with the hurdle at the 30 and a first down. Well, Tate Hancock has been nothing but solid throughout his career at UM, and just last week he went by his older brother Tanner into 20th place on the all-time receiving list at UM, and another solid performance tonight and a first down there. Lex Hilliard up the middle, good gain on first down.
And Montana now doing a nice job mixing it up. Again, I like that little stretch pass where they run the whole team to the sideline, make you run hard to get there, and then come back when you might be a little winded and run right at you.
Hilliard, 14 carries, 67 yards. And they call number 38's number again. I'm going to be shy. The third short situation coming up.
Craig Orwig got a great block on that last play, Tom. He just sent his man to the mat and did a nice job. Chris did as well, or Chris Orwig, I should say.
Third and 2.5. Double tight end. Hilliard's got some room. Met in the hole by Tolo Tuatelli, and he stopped shy. He stopped shy. Tolo Tuatelli, the senior linebacker, number 42, met him, and then he got some help. It looked like Lex was going to win the initial battle with Tuatelli, but then some more help came, and at least with that spot, I don't believe he's going to have the first down.
No, and I think Lex would love to have this one back because I think he cut it back too soon. If he'd have stayed outside, he'd have got the first down.
So the punt team comes on. Bobby Houck never one to be afraid to fake a punt. We've seen that from distances much closer than this to his own goal line. Sideline
warning on the Portland sideline. Sideline warning, Portland sideline.
So a sideline warning called. The next time that they have players too close to the line, a flag will be thrown. So Tyson Johnson struggled in the first half, had a couple of kicks that went off the side of his foot. And the Vikings call timeout.
Judges to Portland State. That's the second timeout this half.
Tyson Johnson's averaged just 24 yards per kick tonight. Of course, he had two that were 3 yards and 5 yards. Looking for a good one here. End over end, Frigno's going to have a chance to bring it back across the 35 and close to the 40. So good return for Frigno. And at the 40, the Vikings will have the ball. Third quarter trivia, albeit a little bit late. We're going to do it right now anyway. Third quarter trivia brought to you by Don Hanson Ford. What year did the Grizz win their first 1AA playoff game and against what team? And just for kicks, Bob, who was the Vice President of the United States?
I think I know this one.
33-yard punt that time for Johnson. A 15-yard return by Ferrigno. Coming down to crunch time now. Fuquay, not much. About 3 yards.
You know, in those timeouts, it's going to be interesting to see how those come into play later.
Here's the answer to that third quarter trivia question brought to you by Don Hanson Ford.
I'm saying A, Tom.
Well, we gave you Jackson State. They played Jackson State, the first win in the playoffs, and it's A. Nicely done.
Thank you.
You're 3 for 3. PSU tonight on the ground, 32 rushes, 151 yards is what the Vikings have been able to do. Didn't get much that last time, and now it's 2nd and 8. Fuquay right side, Lance Spencer having none of it. Big number 96, junior defensive end from Malta. He's been in the backfield a couple of times tonight.
Lance is a great player. He's real long. He's got long arms and a long torso, and he does an excellent job getting upfield, and then he's so strong, he just handles people.
Portland State faced with a 3rd down.
Watch the screen here, Tom, and the bootleg has been pretty effective too for Portland State. We'll see if they use it.
They're 5 of 13 on 3rd down so far tonight. Across the middle to Whitehead, the tight end, and he has the first down. Puts his head down and runs to the stick and then forward, making the play, number 19, Tim Parks.
Real straight ahead attack that time. They just quick drop, which they don't usually do, and throw to the tight end for a first down.
Tim Parks, number 19, who made the tackle. Played for the first time 2 weeks ago in Cheney. True freshman cornerback from Moreno Valley, California. Grizz coaches think he may be the best corner on the team by the end of the season. Montana's offsides. Grizzlies jumped off sides. Flag down.
They'll pick up 5 easy yards for Portland State.
It was on this end of the line. I believe it was Mike Murphy. Seventh penalty of the game against the Grizz.
Offside on the defense, number 90 lined up in the neutral zone. 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
And you don't see Mike make many errors. He is a great player from Great Falls, Montana, and just a youngster still.
Just a sophomore.
He's going to be a great one, or is a great one already.
He was an all-stater out of CMR. 1st and 5 after the offside. Fuquay cuts it back into the middle, short of the stick, but it'll be 2nd and short coming up for the Vikings. 4th quarter clock continues to roll. The attendance here tonight, we said earlier, Bob, they were hoping for about 10 or 12,000. They fell shy of that. Kind of a disappointment for the folks here at PSU. 8,413. 8,413 in the seats here this evening.
And I would say, Tom, at least half of those are Montana fans. It was amazing out in the tailgate area how many. It was a whole party, a couple, 3 blocks worth of Montana fans out there.
Rubin on 2nd and short is going to have the first down. Rubin straight ahead, and Johnny Verona along with Spencer there on the tackle.
See, Portland State tickled with that because short, 2nd and short, they took their time getting the line, take their time now, trying to run that clock out. So that sense of urgency is starting to appear on every series. I mentioned it the time before when Montana had the ball.
Every play from here on out just magnifies with each play as the seconds tick off the clock. Bodiford with Ferrigno. The wide outs to the top of the field. Rubin, good block from his right guard, Peter St. John, who pulled, and a gain of almost 5 on first down. We'll say 4. Spencer there again to make the tackle for the Grizz.
They're a little slow getting that 25-second clock started too. They took quite a while, and extra time ticks off.
Always nice to have the home finger on the button. Fullback Kennett in motion. He leads the way for Rubin. And over the 30. So short game, but it'll set up a third now, about 3rd and 3 now, coming up for the Vikings. Kennett leads the way. And Rubin does the dirty work behind him, carrying the ball.
Of course, they'd be happy with a field goal here because then Montana would have to score a touchdown to tie it. So, of course, either way, they're down by 4. They're going to have to score a touchdown to win it.
For sure going to have to get in the end zone. Portland State 6 of 14 tonight. They've been pretty good on 3rd down. Montana love to get a big play right here. Creeping up, McIntyre comes on a blitz, and they go over the middle, and the tight end catches the ball. First down for the Vikings, and that's Scott Weaver, one of 3 tight ends that they'll use, and he, along with Whitehead, get the majority of the balls thrown their way, and that was maybe the biggest catch that Weaver's made this year.
No backs in the backfield, a formation they rarely run, and they just kind of sits underneath and is real patient, and Weiser gets him the first down and the catch.
First down, 10 yards to go. The Grizz have a little confusion. Linebackers shifting around and pointing different directions, and Fuquay's going to score. Bob, I know you saw it too because you started pointing to me. I believe there was some confusion amongst the linebackers as to who was supposed to be where. Yeah,
the left wideout was uncovered, but it didn't really matter because they had a run called, and that confusion, I do believe, helped lead to the touchdown. But boy, he just ran right up the gut and broke it over the left side. Yeah, McIntyre and Hogue were looking at each other and shifting around and didn't know exactly where they were supposed to be, I believe. Fuquay goes in. We'll take a break. It's an 11-point game now. We are back off that 16-yard touchdown run by Fuquay. Grizz now down 11. This ball goes out of bounds. There's a mistake. They're trying to kick it low and keep it out of the hands of Heidelberger or Seegers.
Illegal procedure with a free kick out of bounds. We're about 5 yards to the previous spot. Free kick.
Montana, with the kind of kick return that they have, their game, they're going to make them kick it again. Here's that touchdown run by Fuquay, the MontanaGrizzlies.com scoring drive. For all the latest stats and news on UM Sports, go to MontanaGrizzlies.com. And Fuquay, 16-yard touchdown run, 9 plays to go 60 yards.
And Montana here, Tom, had the option to take the penalty and put it at the 35, but you can see they're going to make the Vikings re-kick 5 yards back. I'm sure with the thought to get a return on it with Jefferson or Levander and a chance to score on the kick.
Right, absolutely. A couple of final scores to pass along from the Big Sky. Weber State beat Idaho State 26-14. So that Weber team, whichever team shows up each Saturday, it's anyone's guess. And Eastern Washington over Sac State 45-10. No surprise there. And of course, the Bobcats play tonight against Northern Arizona. So from the 30-yard line, and now they go deep. Well, here's what they want. Seegers with the ball in his hands. Bunch of blockers in front of him. Good return. Good return. Montana can score quick enough. If they can go down the field, maybe get a deep ball right away. If they score quick enough, they could conceivably kick off, give the ball back to Portland because they have all 3 timeouts.
Yeah, there's enough time. Not much extra, but enough if they show some quickness. And it'll be interesting to see if they go into their 2-minute offense here, though.
Remember last week, NAU scored 9 points in the final 2:06 to beat Portland State. So they've blown leads before, as we've mentioned. It is possible. Craig Oakes has got the arm to do it. And the receivers to do it too. And here's Hancock to the 45. Montana in the hurry-up mode.
One of the Portland State players
That's
injured.
Dorsey.
And he's been a big factor today, stripping the ball a couple different times. So we would hope that he's okay.
Dorsey down, he's being attended to. Let's take care of fourth quarter trivia, brought to you by Don Adson Ford. And sticking with the political feeling, of course, political season thankfully comes to an end on Tuesday. The Grizz played their first football game ever in 1897. Who was president of the U.S. then? So you really don't need to know much about Grizz football in tonight's trivia questions. Just U.S. history.
It's like he's going to come off under his own power. It's nice to see that he's going to be okay.
Dorsey up and out.
Grizzly fans glad to see him leave for a few plays, though.
Boy, no kidding. He's been a thorn in their side. He's been in Craig Oakes' face a couple of times. Oakes out of the gun. Got his man. Heidelberger. Big gain, first down. Clock will stop till the chains are set. .346 now. This is so reminiscent of 2 years ago, the game that took place here. Montana had to score twice in the fourth quarter. They ended up winning that game on a J.R. Waller touchdown. Oakes with a man on his leg, and he has to get it away. It was Chris Berg again.
It's good that he got it away there, mostly for clock management.
Well,
if he'd have taken the sack, the clock would have kept running. That time he just threw it away to kill the clock.
I think the referees may throw a flag here. And they're not. The Portland State wants intentional grounding. But no call. So 2nd and 10. And 4 wide outs for Craig Oakes. Justin Green, the personal protector in the backfield. And Oakes nearly picked off. Odell Jackson was the man in the area who nearly had it. Bring up a 3rd and 10 for the Grizzlies.
That time quarterback and receiver were not on the same page. Receiver cut in and Craig threw it out.
Yep, exactly. Heidelberger, the man downfield. Montana 2 of 10 tonight on 3rd down. Seeger's going to have to make something happen after the catch, and he does. Holy cow, that little guy is strong. He is strong. Clock will stop till the chains are set. LV with a big play.
A lot of receivers would have got out of bounds after the catch there, and as you mentioned, he makes something happen and gets a really needed first down here on this series.
Big players make big plays when they need them. Grizzlies driving towards the end zone. Got to score twice here in the last 3 minutes. Oakes across the middle. Heidelberger and to the 15. And another first down. Clock is stopped, now it's wound. Oakes has trips to his right. Talmadge to the near side of the field. Into the end zone, knocked away, and Jackson again. Odell Jackson there to knock it away. And there's a man down for Montana, and now a flag thrown. And I think it's going to go against Portland State. I really do. Tate Hancock came in and had words with Byron Woods, number 48, the strong safety. Here's the call.
Dead ball foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 48, for taunting. That'll be 15 yards from the previous spot. Correction, they'll be half the distance.
Going to the 7-yard line.
Well, that'll stoke the Montana fire a little bit with that extracurricular, and there's no reason for that when you've got the lead and the win in hand to give your opponent extra momentum. There is a player down though, and
yeah, there's a player down the back of the end zone.
I think it's Levander.
Yeah, you see it. You'll be able to see it here, Bob. He takes a good lick to the back, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Chenault lowers the boom, and that you see number 30 Tate Hancock is going to come in. Hancock didn't appreciate that. You see Tate sauntering over there, and he went and said something, and then Woods
you can see right there.
Yeah,
Woods said
yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, that he deserved that call.
Because Woods came over to top LV and taunted him as he laid there. So LV up and off the field. Montana with a second down from the 8. Craig Oakes is 19 of 30 for 280 yards. How about one more completion here?
Good
they
call.
wanted it.
Good call. Well, quarterback draw, it's a great call, Tom, because
sure is.
Yeah, you fake a draw, everybody's accounted for except for the quarterback, and he just ducks up right underneath.
Holy cow. Super call. Montana's going to go for 2.
He walked in.
He just tiptoed in there. Wow.
Well, this if they get the 2 point, then a field goal would tie it. Might go overtime.
Crucial 2-point conversion attempt here. Brad Rhodes now lines up on the left side, unbalanced to the left. And Rhodes jumps. No, pardon me, it was Proctor. Troy Proctor got ahead of himself, and he flinched.
Prior to the snap, false start. On the offense, number 75. 5 yards from the spot.
Will make the 2 points a little tougher. But then again, if you're going to throw the ball, it gives you more room too.
Yeah.
That's not that bad of a penalty.
I was going to mention that. It kind of takes the run out of play, you would think. But again, after watching that quarterback draw, maybe not.
Talmadge flipped to the near side with one-on-one coverage. Look for the jump ball to number 2. They throw it to him, and he's got it.
That was a sweet play and a heads-up play to stick the ball over the goal line to make sure you get it in.
Well, they didn't go for the jump ball. They went for the stop on the curl route, the stop and go, and he stopped and it was right there.
Yeah, a little hitch pattern out here.
Exactly.
Little hitch, and he catches it and sticks the ball over to make sure he got it.
So Dominic Dixon there, but not good enough. Talmadge wins the battle one-on-one, and we have a 3-point ball game with 2:38 left. And you know, I got to believe in the back of the minds of the Vikings, they are thinking, not again. Here we play well for 55 minutes, and then the other team comes storming back.
If Montana is successful here, their new name should be the Cardiac Kids, because they've certainly kept this one interesting.
Holy smokes. Well, the 8,000 that showed up have not been disappointed. Neither have we. And neither have you at home.
Look at here, Portland State watching for the onside kick. They're real concerned.
Now the Grizzlies do have 3 timeouts left. Vikings have 1.
I think they've got enough time to kick it away, but we'll see.
What's the call?
Portland State has 9 guys up.
They send it down. Fuquay from the 15. Fuquay to the outside, and he's down to 30. So it's going to come down to the defense. Well,
It's like Fuquay's coming off hurt, Tom.
yeah, he's gimped up. Here's the answer to that last question. It's A. It's B. Sorry, pardon me, I read my wrong answer. It's B, William McKinley. Okay, here we go. 1st and 10. Fuquay came off the field. He is limping. He will not be in the game for this first play of this series. Grizz got to have a stop. Portland with 2 tight ends. Rubin straight ahead, a good stick made. Good tackle by Matt Lepsock, but not until a gain of 8.
And again, that's their game. Run the ball.
Timeout. Charge it to Montana. That's the first timeout this half.
And you got to keep your eyes open for a bootleg too.
That last drive for the Grizzlies, 8 plays, 63 yards, and the run by Craig Oakes. There's a player down for the Montana Grizzlies at about the 50-yard line on the far side of the field. I'm pretty sure it's Johnny Verona.
Timer, please reset the clock to 2:25. 2:25, please.
So Verona is up now and being helped off the field, jumping on his left leg, not putting pressure on his right leg.
It looked like he got his knee too, but he's putting a little weight on it now that he's on the sideline.
3 yards to go on 2nd down. Vikings get this, it's going to make it a lot tougher for the Grizz.
And the Grizzlies
I mean, 1 first down may do it.
and they may want to gamble just a little bit with those backers.
They're in tight. It's Kennett. Kennett has the first down. The fullback for the Vikings has turned in some big plays tonight. And that's devastating right there to the Montana Grizzlies. Montana does have 2 timeouts remaining. 2 to burn.
Double tight. This is their run formation.
They're not going to put the ball up in the air at this point in the game. Rubin with blockers. Stood up after a short gain of 1.5 yards. And a timeout taken by Montana. The Grizz have 1 left.
Charge it to Montana. That's the 2nd timeout this half.
We have an update from Flagstaff. Montana State 13, NAU 0, with 4:16 left in the first quarter.
Well, this next play, Tom, is going to be very big. Montana can take another timeout, as you mentioned. So the next play will really depend on if Montana's going to get a shot at getting the ball back. Because if they get a first down on the next play or 2, then it'll be their game. Barring a turnover, of course.
Can the Grizz win another close one? Well, it's been the rushing game for Portland State. And tonight they put up more yards than anyone has on the Grizz this season. 193 yards on the ground for Portland State.
their straight T backfield. Run.
Flag on the play. Flag down on the play. And this could be big. It's going to stop the clock initially. We'll see who is it on. It's against the Grizz.
Yeah, neutral zone, I believe, on the lineup.
Offside. Number 90 on the defense. It is declined. First down.
Well, Coach Walsh has not been very successful against Montana during his tenure, so this win, if he holds on to it, will be one of his biggest, I would think.
Now the clock rolling. Montana with one timeout left. Referee had to pick up his flag on the far side of the field. Now we're ready to go. Montana trying to strip the ball out of there. Kennett the back. And the Grizz will burn their final timeout of the game.
Tell it to Montana. That's the final timeout this half.
Should Portland State hang on and take this game, it would be a historic one for the Big Sky Conference. Since 1993, UM has lost 10 conference road games. And this will be the first time they've lost more than once in the same venue, in the same stadium, since 93. Of course, that happened back in 99. Portland State got them here. That game you talked about earlier, about that 51-48 overtime game.
Yeah, I was here for that one, and it was a great game as far as touchdowns go. Tons of points and a lot of determination. This has been a great game too by both teams, but you know, Montana just started too slow to really give themselves a great chance to win it, although they've rallied back very, very well.
And I think one of the keys when the coaches look back on this game and when they watch the film tonight, I'm sure when we get back to Missoula late tonight, Joe Weiser with his feet made big plays running the ball. Full house backfield. Kennett straight ahead. Now it's going to be third down. And by the time this ball is spotted right now, this ball will have to be snapped with about 34 seconds left if they take it all the way down. So as long as the last play takes at least 7 seconds as long as this next play takes at least 7 seconds, this will be it. Then they won't have to snap the ball on fourth down. We'll see if the officials get the ball spotted quick enough to where it'll make a difference. 27 seconds left on the game clock. The ball is spotted and they won't have to snap it. Well, that was close, but that's the way it goes. No more snaps, and the Portland State Vikings have upset the Montana Grizzlies here at PGE Park.
Well, as I mentioned, it's got to be Coach Walsh's biggest win, or one of them, since he's been here and against Montana for sure. And as far as the conference, this puts a lot of emphasis on the rest of the season for the Grizzlies. They're going to have to win out at home to win the title.
Now the big question will be tonight. Should the Bobcats hang on to beat NAU, and Montana State would be all alone in first place. The Grizzlies have their first loss. Montana's had 3 4-game win streaks under Bobby Houck, but never have they won 5 in a row. They had a chance tonight.
See Coach Houck being escorted off with Mike from
Captain Mike Freilich
from the Highway Patrol. Yep.
Dave Guppy's down on the field doing his best to corral Coach Houck, so we'll see if he can do that. But 35-32, the final here tonight. And again, Portland State off to a fast start, Bob. That's what we talked about. And Montana came back, and boy, they made some plays offensively and defensively. But in the end, the Portland State Vikings just made more plays.
Well, and 2 great teams. Montana is a great team. They'll be back, and they'll have to be reckoned with in Missoula for the next 3. But give Portland State some credit too. A big game for them, and they showed they're not all about quit at the end of the game either.
As you said, Montana probably really happy right now to be at home for the rest of the season, and especially coming off a loss. They'll be at home against NAU and against Sac State, and then of course the season finale November 20th against Montana State. But that's a ways down the road. What Montana has to do now is just regroup this early part of next week and hope to get a win against NAU. We're going to take a break. We'll be back to PG Park to wrap this one up. Montana suffers its first conference loss of the year, 35-32. Well, we should mention, Bob, the Montana Grizzlies, even with this loss, are still in control of their own destiny. Should they win out, they will be conference champs and the #1 team out of the Big Sky to get the automatic berth to the postseason. There's Don Reed. Don Reed coached here at Portland State, 2 different stints before coming to Montana. But no matter what happens tonight in Flagstaff, even if the Bobcats win and MSU takes the lead in the conference, if the Grizz win out, which would mean a win over MSU, they would be the champs. So they still control their own destiny.
And you know, I think they knew that coming in, that the real test would be the last 3 games at home. They knew this was a scary affair. They wanted to win, I'm sure. But yeah, it puts all the emphasis on the last 3 games. And the good news for Montana fans and for the Grizzlies is they are in control of their own destiny.
And those games will be in Missoula.
Right.
The Grizz, a season high 3 turnovers tonight, definitely one of the keys. Montana came in 3rd in the nation in turnover margin and leading the Big Sky, so that's a category that usually goes the Grizzlies' way, and tonight that didn't go their way, and that was a big part of it, especially early some turnovers that stopped some drives, and field position was so huge. So the Grizzlies fall to 3-1 in the Big Sky Conference. Now, next week, as we mentioned, the Grizz will be home against Northern Arizona. The following week, home against Sacramento State, and the week after that, home against the Montana State Bobcats. And taking a look at the final stats, which we were just handed right here. Joe Rubin, we mentioned him, 78 yards tonight, Bob, and Ryan Fuquay, 75 yards. So pretty good combination there for the Montana Grizzlies. Lex Hilliard had 72 yards. Craig Oakes, 19 of 30 for 2 touchdowns with 1 interception. And Joe Weiser, 3 for 2 touchdowns and 1 interception as well. Grizz spread the ball around to the receivers. Heidelberger had 6 catches, Talmadge 5, Hancock 5, Seegers 3. But again, I think it was field position, and Joe Weiser, 42 yards rushing, and the big plays that he made with his feet. So that's it, partner. We'll be back in Missoula next week.
Look forward to watching them.
Outstanding. So the Montana Grizzlies fall tonight. They still control their own destiny, however. The big win for the Vikings goes to the home team here at PGE Park. For all our crew and for our stat man in the booth, John Casper, providing our stats tonight. And for Bob Hermes, I'm Tom Cott saying thanks for watching. This has been a production of KPAX and the Montana Television Network. We'll see you next Saturday in Missoula as the Grizzlies try to rebound as they take on NAU. That's next week, and we'll see you next at that time. Good night.